When you and President Clinton spoke, what did you discuss?
Well, that's none of your business, but it was very routine. And I will say, my mind, when we spoke, I mean, this is where most of it was written incorrectly, my mind was already fully made up. In other words, I was already going to run. So when we spoke, when he called, my mind was already, totally made up. I was already running, essentially. So, there was nothing big, but I've known them over the years, and, I haven't spoken to them in a long time. But my mind was fully made up.
Did he encourage you to run?
He spoke to me. My mind was made up a long time ago.
Did he encourage you to run?
No, not at all. In fact, I think he was upset. I think we didn't really discuss it, but I think look, I am Hillary's worst nightmare. She knows it. He knows it. And I think the smart people in politics know it. When I went and I said I was going to run against, the guys that I'm running against right now, everybody said, oh, he's never going to run. He's never going to file. I filed. And the numbers are massive, and the company is a great company. But, they said he'd never file this, he'd never file that, then he'd never file it. Well, I did that. I ran. And then they said, oh, well, maybe he won't do well. Well, in the meantime, I have like a 15-point lead. And now everyone's saying, oh, wow, that's really sort of amazing. And I think I'll win, to be honest with you. It's possible I won't. But I have a very substantial lead, and we're getting all of these great numbers back from South Carolina and from New Hampshire and from everywhere. Iowa's going to be amazing. I mean, the people are amazing in New Hampshire and Iowa, and they love what we're saying, which is basically that our government is run by incompetent people, and we're losing our country. And we just have incompetent leadership, and it's horrible what's going on. So the message is out there, and people are liking what I'm saying, and I will make this country great again. And we can do it relatively fast, but we have to get working soon, because if we continue to go this fast, we're not going to be able to bring it back.
Let's talk about your leadership abilities, which is in business, and you tout it all the time. And I'm wondering if there's a double standard at play here, because you took some very tough questions about your business practices, about taking advantage of bankruptcy 4 times, yet no one questioned Carly Fiorina's business experience. Is there a double standard, you think, when it comes to you?
Well, no, they're questioning hers. Look, she got fired, and she got fired very harshly. It was a very vicious firing, and she was fired, and then she ran for senator against Barbara Boxer in California, and she lost in a landslide. And I'm not knocking her. I couldn't care less. She's not going to win, okay? I mean, they say, oh, she's glib. So what? She's glib. It takes a lot more than being glib. But she's not going to win. But she got fired, and she ran for office, and she lost in a landslide. I don't see that as being necessarily great credentials. But I think she's probably a very nice woman. I just don't know. Now, in my case, I never went bankrupt. But like many other of the top business people, almost all of them, we use the bankruptcy laws to our advantage, and we make good deals by using those laws. Now, out of hundreds of companies that I have, I used it 3 or 4 times, made phenomenal deals, and mostly having to do with Atlantic City. And by the way, Caesars just went bankrupt. Almost all the places in Atlantic City go bankrupt because the place is doing very poorly. But, it's not my fault. Yeah. But I left about 7 years ago. I made a lot of money in Atlantic City. I had great vision, great timing for leaving. Just like I had great vision by saying in 2004, don't go into Iraq. If you look at the papers back in those days, okay, Reuters, you'll see that, and that's unlike any other candidate. I'm the most militaristic person. I would create military so strong, but we shouldn't have used it in Iraq because we destabilized the Middle East, which is exactly what I said would happen. And Iran will take over Iraq, and ISIS will take over the oil, and lots of things are going to happen that are very bad after spending trillions in lives and wounded warriors and everything else. So, you have to have vision. With Atlantic City, I left 7 years ago, made a lot of money, left, and I've used certain laws and things that you're allowed to use. And I use them brilliantly. And other people have too, and top people. I mean, I'm talking about top people have used the same things. And you have to know what you're doing, but, it worked out very well for me.
Speaking of Iraq...
But, Don, just so you understand, I never went bankrupt. Neither did the other guys like me that use that
I remember getting a call from the fire department commander telling me that they were not sure they were going to be able to contain the fire. And I said, you know, we've had such terrible loss of life. Maybe the smartest thing to do is pull it. And they made that decision to pull, and then we watched the building collapse.